If you followed exactly what she said, if you followed it carefully, she tried to explain that you don't get a concept just off imagery. And what I was trying to explain to all of us is that concept development always follows a process, because the concept development is the final bus stop of your design solution, or is the beginning bus stop, whichever one. It's a very crucial place. It's the point where you get a solution. So you can't just say, when you are coming to the solution, you can't stick out your head and say, just because I'm designing a restaurant, my concept must be a spoon or a plate. The concept can be, it can be something that you would not necessarily pick out and say it's an object, it's an image. Because a design concept can be something that forms a design solution. Let me give you an example now. You are designing a school, and your design concept can be maybe efficient learn and play environment. So your goal is to design or create an efficient environment for both learning and playing. It's not, your goal is not a football or a textbook, but this is your goal. Now, in working towards that design concept, you are now going to be solving problems that have to do with both playing and learning. And at the point where you get a good solution to both playing and learning, the form that develops from there becomes your concept. You're even free to name it. If you look at the images on our screen now, from the design process and to the design solutions, the concept is not necessarily a particular imagery. Now, this building came out with very wonderful imagery, but you can't say, oh, this is a cup, or this is a plate or spoon or something of that nature. So it's important that we understand that concepts are not always imagery of something that is seen. Like maybe if you are designing an IT store, you want to make your concept look like a phone. What about the phone you are designing your building to look like? In 10 years' time, that phone will be an old model phone. What will happen to the building? Will you come to increase the number of cameras on the phone or something of that nature? So, concept mustn't always and shouldn't always be imagery, like plain imagery. Concepts, like I've tried to explain, is the singular solution that you arrive at, or the final solution that encompasses all the other smaller solutions that you are trying to get. So it's a measure. Now, it always will show in the form of the building, and it's always going to have some influences of the architect, and it will reflect also his or her design philosophy. But at the end of the day, which is the most important thing, is that the concept solves the most intriguing problems of the design. I think that's the way to put it. So, Akiandi, if you can come in, that would be great.
Yeah. Sorry, my my system was hanging. I was trying to unmute myself.
Okay.
So exactly what you said is what I was trying to explain. Look at there's this building, this Frank Lloyd's Falling Waters.
Yes.
It's not a particular image. Even if it looks like he was playing with horizontal lines. If you look at the building very well, then you see that he tried to blend the structure with nature. And I think that was the concept he was working with. That's just a blend of the structure that's man-made with what natural environment. So you see water is actually flowing. That's the natural water body there. He allowed the water to spring through the building.
Yeah.
So it's not a particular image. It wasn't like he said, "Oh, let me work with a box," or let me just make sure that this building looks like a cuboid or something. No, he divided the building into layers, something like that. So he was trying to use that unique approach to solve the design problem that he felt that building faced. And it doesn't mean when we say design problem, it just means that there's usually a major thing in every design that has to be in every design project. There's a kind of design that is unique to that kind of design. For instance, if you look at a shopping malls now, the main thing, one of the major design problems in shopping malls is circulation and then traffic control. If you can do those two, you've solved the major part of a shopping mall. That's the I don't know. That's the problem around a shopping mall design. Then if you look at hospitals, you have circulation, you have wayfinding, and then traffic. If you can solve those three, you've solved the bulk of the hospital design problem. So design problem just means the main thing that you should be able to solve for the building to be very functional, to be very effective. It doesn't mean that there's a problem and people are running health. No, not that. Design problem is just the design itself. You understand? So when we're talking about concept development or generating a concept, you're just looking at a unique approach, because the way you approach your own solution might not be the same way another person will approach the same design, because people think differently. Number one, you have different philosophies. Number two, there are different researches that you have done that the person may not have done. Maybe it's cases that you studied that the person did not study. There are solutions that you come up that will generate from your analysis that the person may not have generated, because you think differently. So it will actually influence the idea that might be triggered in your brain when it comes to solving the problem. It might just be that the problem, your own approach to solving it, because your concept is a fusing of geometric forms, because in your mind you're saying different there are different people using the structure, and each of those forms represents a class of people, and then you're looking for how to fuse them, because you're looking for how to integrate the different users of the building together. Fine, but in the end, that's concept should be able to solve the basic problem of that design. If it doesn't solve the problem, then it means that the concept was not ideal for that design problem.
Okay, thank you so much. And just to summarize or to add to what she has said, remember, imagery is just a part of your concept. So of course we don't say you shouldn't care about the form. You should, but what the form looks like is also an aspect of the concept. It's not the most important aspect, but it's also an aspect of the concept. Other problems associated with the design still come in to form that solution. All right. Any other comments or question? If you do, you can unmute yourself and ask. This is a design problem. The first thing you want to do to develop a design concept, or what a design concept is actually, like I said, design concept is the articulate solution you have given to a design problem. So a design concept mustn't always just be something that you have the solution to it at once, because a design concept solves a lot of problems. So when you are building your concept, it takes a lot of skill to solve those problems and articulate them holistically into one solution. I want to give you an example with this big work of the energy plant. Now, the idea is he started this concept by framing his buildings based on the equipment that are going to be in the building. And so you can see that when you have a problem to design, let's say, a waste energy plant, the first thing you have to research on is to get information about the kinds of equipment that will be needed to do that waste energy recycling. So that's what he did. Now, the next thing he also wanted to do is that he wanted people to see the waste plant not as something that is bad, like an isolated architectural object, but as something that should be part of the community, and that should be socially profitable, and it's also environmentally friendly. And so what he wanted to do is that he also wanted a fun factory, put it that way. So he achieved that by creating a facade that wraps around the building and at the end of the day, allowed daylight into the building, but also created a play area for people to have a green roof on the top. So people can play games on the top and enjoy a lot of fun time on top of the environmentally, the building that is used for waste management. So it's not just a factory building now, it is also a factory building that can also integrate properly into the environment. So concept development it doesn't have just one single solution. I'll just come and tell you, this is concept development. It's the integral part is that point where everything merges together for you. So you can see what he did. He kept working through this design development or concept development stage by stage until we have a park and a sky slope on the roof of the energy plant. So it's not just longer an energy plant, but it's also a fun building where people can come around and play. So you can see the roof of the building with green areas, with sand, with people playing on top of it. And this is his idea of creating fun field architecture where both people inside and people outside of the building can enjoy it. So your design concept is always a process. It's not just something that pops in your head. Immediately they give you design, you just get it. It involves a lot of research, a lot of careful analysis of problems, and then sometimes it happens by accident. It hits you by accident because you are solving several problems little by little until they now become one full solution.